When you think about the greatest bands to ever do it, you could argue they all had great chemistry. But when I think about Rush and their lack of lineup changes, the fact that they really liked each other, their longevity, their cult following, that's the secret ingredient about Rush that puts them above all else. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lone University. Today, it's time for more Rush. I posted this poll last week, and Leave That Thing Alone won your vote. This is from their 15th studio album, Counterparts, released in 1993. As I said, there's some parts of their discography I'm just not familiar with, especially that later 80s, earlier 90s stuff. I didn't even know that this was an instrumental, but I do know that the instrumental songs Rush do, they pull out all the stops. We're going to be checking out a live version by your request as well in the comments from the Time Machine live DVD back in 2011. So let's get to it. Leave That Thing Alone live from 2011. Man, they have the coolest stage setups. So intricate. So much attention to detail. Like their music. Doesn't sound familiar to me. Classic Geddy tone. Gritty. Cool little delayed beat there. Sounds like we're in A. Sounds like he started off. I'm going to go back and catch that little bass break because I just love hearing Geddy isolated like that. His tone just really cuts through. He's always has such great tone that everyone tries to get and has for many decades. But again, sounds like we're in A. Kind of got my Geddy patch pulled up here. So if I start out on that first part, let's see. Kind of doing this little pull-off B, C, B. Then he goes down to the F, and I can tell he's plucking really hard. It really has that crunch. Let me let it play a bit and see where this goes. Alex's tone with Geddy. Alex has this creamy tone. Geddy has this gritty tone. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. I just love that kind of contrast there. It just gives this a lot of weight and depth to this very simple lead part going on right now, which is really cool. While we're zoomed in, I got to point it out, floating thumb technique. I always talk about it in my videos. If you're a bass player looking to get clean playing, you got to incorporate this technique. You'll notice that when he goes back and resets, his thumb is on the A string. That's implying that the A string and the E string are not being used in that particular phrase because you want the open strings to be muted because the bass is very notorious. The more you hit it, mess around, those low strings will start ringing out. It's the best way to keep your playing clean, but you can see that like right up close right here. Right here. See, now he's got his thumb on the E string, so he's going back down lower. Floating thumb means the thumb is kind of following. So if I do an ascension, you see my thumb is kind of bunny hopping the strings and touching the strings that I'm not using. Really important, subtle stuff that I think every bass player who plays fingerstyle should be incorporating. Love that little flick thing, too. Nice and melodic so far. Even the more I listen, this doesn't ring a bell. Ooh, going down to that F sharp now. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, this got fun really quick. Love that. Whatever that is, it's just catching that upbeat. And again, they start out very direct in the natural minor, A minor, going down to F natural. Then he throws in that F sharp when that main kind of groovy riff starts going, giving it more of a guess of a Dorian sound. Just, it kind of brightens it up a little bit. Keeps it from being just this kind of melancholy A minor sound. Adding that F sharp gives it a bit of tinge of major tonality. And it kind of has a bluesy, groovy feel, but I just love that how that one note can kind of shape the whole way the riff comes across. Yeah, that's Dorian all day. Wow, this is so much jazzier than I would have thought. Look at him just cushioning that beat. He's got a jazz style. You know, I watched the Beyond the Lighted Stage documentary when that came out a decade ago now. I remember just obsessing over that. It was such a great watch. It made me love the band even more. And I learned in that documentary that Neil had this whole Freddie Gruber stage where he wanted to go study jazz and precision. And, you know, it's amazing someone as good as him that late in a career wanted to learn and explore more. Had the humble notion to go, I'm not as good as everyone might say I am, because all that matters is my own version of myself and how I perceive my craft and my playing. I'm going to go better myself and expand my horizons. You know, there's a lot of musicians that are in this position. Big band, been doing it a long time. They don't care about getting better. They're just there to play the show, sell the tickets, and move on. But something about these guys, they were studious guys. And I love remembering that part, kind of learning that bit about Neil, just always wanting to be better. I have a lot of respect for that. Down to kind of E minor now. Going between A and E here. Key change up to kind of D major, B minor. I don't want to stop it yet, but I want to talk about that flicking thing. It's so great. Ooh, that's soulful lead. That's a cool little wait for the downbeat to happen accent. I like that. Tasty rhythm section stuff there. God, that's sick. Okay, you don't get that shot a lot. And I know Geddy plays the Moog pedals. Are they Moog pedals? There's something. The low octave, I'm not super brushed up on his full gamut of accessories, keyboards, and synths. You know, just as a bass player, that's really what I focused on. Takes a lot of multitasking. We already know that Geddy Lee can sing the most oddly phrased vocal lines while playing the most oddly phrased bass lines. It's always something that's blown my mind. And to add a third part in there when he's, you know, doing the pedal tones down there, just an amazing musician. But I want to hear that little bass fill. That's what I was coming back for. Little, sounded like it was GE, little double stop kind of thing there. Love that. That's such a Geddy bass fill. That F sharp. Just makes it a little brighter. Okay, back to the intro. Okay, I want to talk about the flicking thing real quick because I personally don't understand it a lot, and it's one of those things you hear on the records and you just think it's him playing bass, which I guess he is, right? But it doesn't come across like some other technique. You hear it on the record one way, and then you watch it live and it's like, oh, that's kind of how he's getting that sound. And this is one of those things where it's not like a standalone technique where it's like he's just going. He kind of incorporates it very sneakily and subtly in his lines to just give it a little bit extra flair. And I'm not sure if he's just raking an octave there. So I want to go back and watch this one little part because it always has fascinated me. And this is one of those things where every bass player has their own little quirks and techniques and ways that they've landed to get the sound or effect they want. And I love how unique that is among all of the greats. Let's see here. Watch his right hand. I mean, I guess it would be kind of like taking a pick in a way and just kind of doing this whole like kind of like you're grabbing some adjacent strings just to give it a kind of aggressive, rhythmic, more percussive sound, but without having to grab a pick, I guess. Really interesting. We'll watch that one more time. Because again, it just gives the whole syncopation a little more of a percussive, gritty sound. Let me watch what he's fretting. Yeah, he's just fretting one note there. Interesting. Ooh. Listen how much he's digging in there. You know, if I just played those two notes, G and A, this is about as hard as I naturally pluck, me personally as a bass player. But he's going. And that is such a big part of his sound. You know, it's just, I wouldn't naturally play that way. But that's, again, I talked about this in the last video I did last week. Steve Harris, Iron Maiden. He's got this gritty, really digging in sound. That's his zero. He always kind of plays that way. I find that really fascinating. Let's see that again. Oh, yeah. Yes. Holy shit. Oh my God. What a monster. Oh, what the hell, man. You know I'm going to watch that again. Wow. I was expecting him to get a little crazy maybe at the end, but he just took an entire solo. I'm not sure if that's on the studio version. I'm going to have to go back and check, but I know Rush are notorious for sprinkling a little extra pizzazz on their live performances, little extended things. I've known that with some other songs they've done, and then I've seen live, but not being familiar with this one, I'm super curious if it's like that on the record or if it just ends in kind of that more melodic bass groove. Wow. The phrasing, that little quarter note triplet thing, he plays with such precision and such authority. Authority is the right word when I think about Geddy Lee's playing. It doesn't sound like he's going for an idea like an open mic night jazz jam. It doesn't sound like he's going for an idea and abandoning it or getting ADD and going somewhere else. It's like the idea he executes is exactly what he intended to do. It's the way he's digging in, the fullness of the notes, locking in. It's just authority. Authoritative bass playing is the best way I can describe it. And just such rock solid tempo in the sense that he knows where Neil is at all times. As I said at the beginning of this video, some bands have great chemistry. The greatest to ever do it have great chemistry. But this is just like a rhythm section chemistry that is like once in a lifetime, once in a century kind of stuff. And I mean, everything about that was apparent in what I'm saying. Watch this again. Authority. I don't want to stop it, but that strikes me that he repeats that phrase so many times. That's something, and if this is completely improvised, I don't know, but if you're improvising any sort of solo, if you just take a cool idea like that, whatever those notes are, if you just repeat it a couple times, it really strikes the audience, but it gives you a moment to kind of recalibrate, to think about your next part. That's something I struggled with a lot with improvising, is that you're just trying to put every idea and somehow expect it to all come out fluidly under your fingers. No, sometimes you just hit an immediate block mentally when you're improvising. Just take the last thing you played and repeat it 4 to 8 times. Just kind of lock in there for a second. You can put that on autopilot really quickly after the 3rd or 2nd time, and then you can kind of get your bearings together, regroup, and then finish your improvisational part. I wonder if that's this, or if it's just a nod back to that older groove that was earlier in this song, whatever that was. But yeah, let's go back and let it play. I won't interrupt, I promise. This part goes back again. And he is hitting those strings. I can't stop smiling. That triplet, da 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 da. What a master, man. That ending solo just got me. It made me wait for it. The song was a slow burn of really cool groove, melodic ideas that kind of slowly started burning a little brighter. And the way it ended, it's like he took every element from previously in the song. I heard little snippets and ideas of the song put into that solo and just injected with steroids. And again, I'm going to go back and listen to the studio version right when I hit record, so it stops recording. I just want to hear if this is truly just a live elevation of a song, which they are known for doing. I love it. I'm glad I picked the live version. The last one I did for YYZ, I wanted to do the studio version. There's a lot to analyze there. This was great to see it. And again, this was only a little over 10 years ago. Those guys were getting older in age, can still rip it. And I just have a lot of respect that Rush aren't doing anything without Neil in terms of calling it Rush. I'd love to see them continue to make music in some form or fashion, but not calling it Rush is such a respectful nod to what I said at the start of the video. You can't replace that chemistry. That is not something you create and manufacture overnight. It takes 40, 50 years and counting to have that with someone. And then we lost Neil, and that's just, you can't replace that. So I love just watching this band live. You can just hear it, the chemistry. You can hear that they're friends. You really can. I like that. I've always loved that about this band. This band is a role model for bands. Look at the lack of lineup changes. You know, we had John Rutsey early on, but I'm talking really in their prime years, they stuck together. That comes out in the music, always does. Thank you guys for voting for Leave That Thing Alone. This was a real treat to watch and listen to. I'd love to do all the songs on that poll because I'm really not familiar with any of them, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this one. Please like the video. Let me know what you think in the comments and make sure you're subscribed. Love you all. Cheers, and we will see you next time.